Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today's June 6th. This is a carryover of that 2-minute chart, part 6, the mechanics of trading video. And we are now rolling downward. We've come down here to critical support. Very, very important to understand what's actually taking place here. So let's go back through the chart, pick up where I left off. Higher high, ultimate high, double topping pattern right here. So you can see coming down, lower high, okay, very important, come down, lower series of high that fails to break out. This is all rejection. So look, this is rejection all across here. Oops. This whole thing is rejection. And that's what you need to be aware of. Price is rejecting this attempt to move above this resistance level. So this whole thing is rejection moving down. Even though we had a little bit of a higher high scenario here, it completely rejected and rolled down. We got our confirmed trigger here right at the end of the video. I told you, here we go. The first video, which is part 6. I said, here we go. We're headed down. We had confirmation. And now look, we're already moving down. So what happens at this point? We would be short. We've got 5 points in the trade. We're continuing downward. We've established a new low. We're trying to get below this ultimate low. Okay, so this resistance level doesn't matter anymore. This, or support level, this resistance level from this peak up here needs to extend down. So we would, that one, I'll put that back. Grab this one, drag it down to here. That moves our primary resistance into this area, carrying forward. And again, this low back here, this little intermediate one is no longer valid. Same thing with this support level. This resistance level up here is still valid. I'll carry this all the way out. These levels are still valid because they existed as a rejected resistance area. This level is qualified as support, getting broken, turning into resistance, and now we're rolling into this area. Obviously, this ultimate low level would have been a very important level for you to consider taking profits. At a very quick move, take a look at it again. You had a move down about 5 points, 4.75 points in the ES, and now we're looking at this chart trying to figure out what to do. Well, what do you do? Okay, we have a resistance right here. We need to stay below this level in order to continue this downtrend. You're riding your shorts. You would probably want to take some profit if you're a short-term trader. I mean, 4.5, 5 points is a pretty decent move on the SPY, a couple $100. And what you want to do now is be prepared for some kind of a potential rollover. So we're looking at this support and we're trying to determine whether this support, which again, we now have a new ultimate low here. So the support level comes back down eventually, but we have been rejected at this area. So remember, we are rejected here. And why is rejection so important? Price rejection means that price is unable to substantially confirm the downtrend. Okay, it's really important for you to understand that this trend is not, as long as it's unable to close below this level, it means that we are unable to really break downward. We could set up a new ultimate low, okay, but we will, unless we break this level solidly to the downside, it means price may attempt to roll back up. Okay, so our avoid loser range here has been set up. We now have a bit of a broader loser range. What I will do is I'll move these into this area. We've got to get outside of this, and we probably have to get a little bit outside of this. I'll set these up as blue and yellow. This is what's called our avoid loser range, okay? The avoid loser range means that price is showing us that it is unable to make any substantial move outside of this channel. So we are now looking at these areas as resistance. We're watching this this lower ultimate low level to see if we get confirmation. And this is what we call our avoid loser range, meaning we would want to see price confirm to the downside, breaking this rejection, indicating that we have some type of downward momentum potentially taking place here. So let's just watch and see. It's kind of fun to go through this with you. We'll see what happens. Remember, we had the original confirmation of a downtrend right over here. This was a pretty solid sell trigger that got us into this pullback. We broke below the lows. We're short term selling into this trigger. And the reason being is because we had broken through all of these lows and we had stalled in this area. This was a good confirmation. This secondarily gave us another confirmation right here that we were in a downtrend. So now come back over here. We broke below the confirmation trend. We are now getting a secondary signal that we are potentially going to be trending downward. Right here actually generated it, but it took place at the open of this bar. We still have to watch again for this system to now start taking out new ultimate lows. I move the ultimate low down here. We'll leave the avoid loser range here, which is again pretty wide right now. We're looking for support, and we need to again break below this lower ultimate low. If price is going to continue to trend, it will move down into this lower ultimate low and keep trending downward, basically confirming this rejection as a downward price trend. Now, let me get rid of this, and we'll see what happens here for a couple of minutes, and then go from there. So which side confirmed? The downside did. Okay, so obviously we had the downside move. That was the confirmation. That was our big trend, was to the downside. We know now that we should be expecting downward price activity. See how price is now trending downward. And remember, we traded around this area. I showed you the avoid loser range. This is an area where you saw a pretty good move here from this initial confirmation down into these lows. 8 points, a little over 8 points on a 2-minute chart. Then we rolled into this consolidation, which I tried to teach you to avoid. Remember, this is a very difficult area to try to trade. Then we got confirmation here on this bar with a close below. We had a close below the range here. This was our move, and now we're looking at another 7.5 points right here, maybe a bit more. We'll see what happens. And got a little drawing right here I'll get rid of. But this is a great way to show you that now in this current bar and the previous bar, we broke below the ultimate low level again. Beautiful, beautiful. Now what we need to do is we need to move our Fibonacci down, but we'll wait to see what happens on this bar because it's continuing to move lower. We still do not have a close below this ultimate low. So this could turn into rejection right here. Let's go ahead and take a look. Wait for this to kick around, breaking downward a bit. Guys, let's see, I'm 8 minutes, 41 seconds into this video. Let's see what happens. There's a pretty solid breakdown. Looks like we're going to continue to confirm to the downside, getting another anchor bar. We've got a new low. So obviously we are going to set up a new low no matter what happens. But if the bar ended right here, we would get confirmation that we are trending. And this looks like it could begin to break downward. Notice how volume is starting to increase a little bit to the downside. So here's where we would want to come back over here and start looking for previous support and resistance levels. Okay. So now we come in here. Do we have any lower lows? We have a low back over here. See, look at how deeply it just broke down. So let me show you guys what happened. We broke through this low to red, extend, big breakdown. Boy, love it. Okay, so here's where we go, guys. So the markets are breaking down very hard. You can see over here, we're getting a very solid breakdown. Called it perfectly. Now, we need to understand that we have to pay attention to this range, this Friday range. So now understand that we're going to come in here. We're going to take from peak to trough. We're going to look at our support levels. We're going to draw a box right in this area where key support is 382 to 50, coming right across here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to try to take a look if there's other areas. I will draw this area here from peak to trough because this is important on the downside. And I will draw the 382 to 50 area right here. Okay, so now we have very deep trending, potentially setting up into this area. Okay, and I'm just doing this to show you that we are now in a breakdown, very solid price breakdown. And even though we have a real upward momentum in the market on a daily basis, we are very likely going to come down and move into this support zone. And I will highlight these like this, and like this, and like this, and like this, because we are very likely going to move down into the support zone. So what's going to happen here, price is broken out of the range, we're downward trending. It's very likely going to try to come down here or maybe here, which would be key support zones before trying to make another attempt to the upside. So now you have the ability to target. I'm going to go back out here to a 10-minute so you can see what I'm looking at. So here we go. And you can see, looking at this chart, looking at this chart, I'm using the previous rotation to establish trending. Now, I could obviously come in here off of this low and try to find some support up off of here or up off of here. That's valid as well. You could take this low as a standout low coming up to this level, and you could try to find some support in this area, 382 to 50. That would put a range of support potentially in this area. If I'm doing it right, looks like I am. So we'll see. That puts another range of support right here based on this standout low to this ultimate high back over here. But as you can see, we are in a downtrend. We've called it very cleanly. We're in this big breakdown mode. Okay, we've got to move our ultimate low down to here, last completed low. We would move the Fibonacci system down as well to the last completed low. We would then move our resistance channel down to 382 to 50 right here. These previous levels I will leave simply because they, in this downtrend now, I'm not concerned about where we were back up here unless we get a bottom and start turning around. But now I've got targets. Okay, now I've got targets in this move down in these areas, basically right here in the 52.77 area, maybe the 52.63 area, and then eventually moving down a little bit into this 52.35 area. And those would still technically be bullish because remember, we're staying well above this level and we're using these levels, which are Fibonacci retracements, to determine where our support is. So I'm 13 minutes into this. Let's go back to a 2-minute. Automatically scale, and here we go. We're getting confirmation. We're getting anchor bars, beautiful confirmation. Remember, this is the downside. That's the side that actually broke. And we're getting confirmation of new downward trending almost every bar. Anchor bar here. Anchor bar here. And here we go. More downward trending. So lovely to see this from this area here. This is an example of a 16-point trade already playing out. Now, let's see what happens here. Let's watch it for a couple more minutes, see what happens. We're breaking down. We're getting good confirmation. This is beautiful. We would want to see again how this plays out. And as we get a more substantial breakdown here, possibly down into this area, that's when I would come in here and try to draw a Fibonacci level from this midpoint here down. So eventually, as we establish these new bigger downside ranges, I would draw one here, which would give me a new Fibonacci level resistance area. So if I do it here to the last completed low, which would be right here, move this down to here, and move this down to here. Now I've got this as our major resistance area, 382 to 50 right here. That's our major resistance area. But then I've got this little intermediate resistance area, which tells me that this is a shorter term resistance area for the market right here. So the 382 to 50 levels provide very consistent trending. Now we've got to do it again. We've got a new lower low. Look, guys, it's pretty simple. This is the mechanics of trading. What am I using? I'm not using any indicators other than volume and price. That's it. Just very simple mechanics of trading. I keep moving these levels down. I do this visually because I can see them on the chart. You can too with a little practice. Move this down. So now we have our major resistance area right here, roughly 52.96. We have a minor resistance area at 52.93. We're continuing to break down, and look, we're rolling right to our target. So here we go. We'll let it go a little bit. Anchor bar, anchor bar, anchor bar. Beautiful. Control C, Control V. Coming straight down here. Lovely selling pressure. And let's just go another 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and see what happens. This is a great example of using this and teaching you to be patient, which, so which side is going to confirm and which side is going to fail? That's still the big question. A and B, which side is going to confirm, which side is going to fail? Oops, B. So understand that we want to see, we've had confirmation of the downside, so failure to the upside. This means that we have eventually price is going to establish some low. It's going to find a bottom. It's going to find a base. Then we will repeat the cycle back to the upside. So we're now clearly avoiding the loser range. We're outside the loser range. We're capable of taking this new trade while it's trending. And we're basically looking at this level as major resistance. You could use the highs theoretically of any of these anchor bars to be critical critical in terms of pulling some profits. Now you pull profits anywhere down here, but remember the highs of these anchor bars, given a little range, will operate as potentially some sort of a breakout range. I would use the one before. This is our last anchor bar. I would use the one before. At this point, if you haven't pulled profit, you probably really need to. And we're getting a little bounce here. We should move our lows down. Whoops, wrong one. Move our low down to the last completed bar. Move our Fibonacci down to the last completed low. Move this Fibonacci down to the last completed low. And move our support and resistance channel down to the 382 to 50 area. Move our major resistance down to the 382 to 50 area. And notice they're starting to overlap here. That's what's eventually going to happen. Okay, I'm almost out of time, but you get the idea. We're targeting these lower levels just like I projected, using go back to 20 minutes or 15 minutes, using these previous timelines. We're getting very solid data. It's all price. Remember, it's all price. The same techniques I show you work on 5 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 30 minute, whatever. It's all price is what you need to focus on. Learning these techniques, which I teach, are very, very valuable to you. Okay, that's it for now.